computer. There we are. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I would like to call the meeting to order. Jeannie's given us the January 11th meeting minutes. Jeannie, did we get the answer on resolution? Okay,
Yeah.
so great. So would anyone like to motion to approve the January 11th minutes? Motion. Mandy motioned, and may I have a second?
I'll second.
Pam seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, it passes. All right, Scott, over to you. Update on outstanding projects.
Provided everybody with the reports outlined, and you can see last month was extremely busy. The village and town have a lot going on the administrative side. The village LWRP, I submitted the last pay request this week. Quarterly reports going out tomorrow. The only thing I have left to do that I hope is the online closeout, which is 27 pages of questions, of 88 questions that I have to answer. Once you start it, you can't stop, you can't save it or anything like that. So,
Oh, there was some programmer who didn't know what they were doing, but okay.
so I hope that works out the LWRP. The only thing I would say is if they have any questions on the pay apps or want additional information, that would be the village at LWRP on East End Park. Hopefully that's done and over with.
I had a couple of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
You would feel so bad if I didn't have questions. So the LWRP, the big plan, not the East End Park, the Army Corps of Engineer had something. Can you tell us what that was?
The Army Corps of Engineers sent a letter to the village. And it just said that they're ruling shortly on 2 open permits. And without doing additional research, I'm gathering that if they make a ruling on these 2 permits, they're not our permits, to my knowledge. It will affect all the LWRPs, because that letter is to like 30 communities along the lake.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so
Just a generic.
it's just, we're going to make a decision on these 2 permits that could have an impact on your community with LWRP in the future.
Okay.
So,
Did they give us a
the
target
others-
as to when we would know?
It's recent. It says soon, they're not recent. It says we're going to make a decision in the near. One might be ours. Mike had to look up the numbers because I'm not on the permitting side or any of that. So I talked to Mike Altieri. One is filling in land for a dock, but we've already got our permit, so I don't think it's ours.
Okay.
And the second one had some upland bathroom, which I don't understand that because it specifically said upland, so I don't understand how it affects the river, but I don't think either of those are ours, but it could have an effect on,
How we're worded or something?
yeah, any of the
Okay.
consistency requirements of our LWRP plan.
Okay, great.
So
Second question on the Tibbetts Point fence. Is BCA doing that? Was I reading that correctly? Or is it out for bid
it went out for bid,
again? Because it went out for bid once.
went out for bid once. Currently do not know where it's at, but Marty was doing that directly with the state and then didn't share any information with anybody when he left. I'm trying to set up a call next week for Paul and myself and Sunshine from State Parks to see where that's at.
Okay,
But I think the bigger question is where it's at with state parks, because my understanding is Marty met state parks up there with Tim Malone and asked if instead of putting a fence in, they could do the cedar posts that are like on East End Park, but really nobody knows what the answer is.
okay,
We're trying to figure out where it's at.
okay.
To my knowledge, they're looking at doing the black wrought iron on the lake end or the, you know,
Where it's the steep drop off, yeah.
And on the rock and
on the riverside, they're gonna
posts,
do
like
the
parking
cedar
lot.
posts. State
Short,
Parks approved it.
Yes,
please make it short.
So
I gotta look at that when I'm volunteering, so I would like it to be a nicer view.
yes.
Perfect, okay.
But it's a barrier.
Yeah, the only, as you're looking at this, so we're gonna be the Tibbetts Point Lighthouse Society will be open for the eclipse on April 8th. If we could not have construction vehicles there, that would really be a good thing.
Well, our question, or at least Paul's question, which is a good one, we're changing what George Robinson and the federal government approved, so we're gonna at least give him the courtesy of sending him whatever the state approved and say, is this okay? Because like what happened last time, we didn't ask George.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
On lockdown until we asked, so.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll have to
Just,
do
yeah, just as you're,
Which George is that?
George Robinson and
National Park Service.
National
National
Park Service guy.
yeah, if, you know, Scott, as you're in these conversations, and again, this isn't an LDC thing, but, you know, I don't want big diggers up there. When we got people trying to look at the,
I would just say there's a lot of confusion because Marty negotiated the whole contract himself with state after they got the grant. He didn't include me in any of the contracts, so I didn't know where it was at. And then when I sent in the last report and said, we put the fence out the bid, Sunshine said, there's not a fence in this project. And I said, your office just took 3 months to approve the fence, which means there's not a fence in this project. And she said, oh, let me go back to my notes with Marty. And then Marty just left and didn't update anybody, so.
okay, yeah, just keep that date in the back of your mind. If we can avoid that, that would just be really, really nice.
Yeah.
This is just two other questions that aren't on your thing. Did you talk to Jeff Farrell yet? No relation, by the way,
I
at
talked
Nate.
to them, that they're waiting for the new requirements from that $15 million that Schumer just said was coming to the.
Yeah, this is on electric charging stations. When we met with Scott Gray, he brought this up and I'm like, if we don't need to use New York Forward money for those, why would we not use Schumer's 15 million for those? So that was,
So I'm waiting for a call back when he has the new requirements, so I will
okay.
have that information.
And then can you send me Scott Gray's JD? Can you send me just email me his contact information? Because they were going to set up that quarterly meeting thing and I told Clayton that I'd follow up on it, but I left a message on the Watertown office and I get no answer.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions for Scott?
One more thing,
Yep.
since that report, last week, Conference of Mayors hosted a pro-housing seminar with Office of Community Renewal, who's in charge of the governor's new pro-housing, and then Sunday and Monday, I was in Albany for NICOM meetings, and they did a presentation, and we had a chance to go to the governor's mansion and listen to the governor speak about it. And I'm gonna send information. I would encourage the village and the town to as a pro-housing community, because right now, I know we're not gonna win another DRI, but she has made the DRI in New York Forward mandatory for you to be a pro-housing certified community. And she has 5 or 6 other funding programs that she tried to, and the legislature said, no, you're not. You can give priority points for those, but you're not gonna make it mandatory. But her goal is there's gonna be a whole bunch of funding that if you don't follow her lead and be a pro-housing community, you're not gonna have access.
So what's the pro-housing community
Right.
encompass?
So you have to submit your zoning permit applications and information to be like, to officially qualify, you have to have
Who controls it? I guess that's my better question.
the governor's office. You have to have so many, I think it's 5% increase in
Housing.
houses over the last 3 years, or 1.5% over the last year. And if you don't have either of those, you, as a board, you can adopt a resolution that says you're gonna be a pro-housing community and you're going to adopt these active pro-housing measures to seek new housing in your community. And then, you know, this is certified resolution. Have the time frame to meet those requirements.
And then if our zoning doesn't meet their things, we probably have to adjust our zoning if we decide to do it.
You don't have to adjust your zoning as of now. You have to send in your zoning and have it on file with them. If you make any updates, you have to notify them that you made updates, but as of now, you don't have to change any zoning to meet that as of yet. That's still to be determined. Just had a big press conference yesterday to announce the first 20 certified.
So sending in building permits is what shows the growth?
Right, so you have to show the growth by your zoning permit or your building permits over the past 3 years. And if you can't meet those requirements yet, we can just do it by resolution. There's a sample resolution, I think I forwarded to the board already. The board can-
Yeah, you sent us a link on the pro housing thing, so I looked that
So
over.
she's really pushing it, and if she gets her way, she's gonna tie a whole bunch of funding to it, you have to do one. And now you get bonus points for like 6 buildings, but she wants to make it that you can.
So this is village and town responsibility to proceed on this.
Yeah, but if you're, even if we apply for grants that are in the village or the town, that would be looked at that way, even if you're the lead.
Good.
Steve's in round.
Ah, good. Okay, great. Northern New York Community Foundation, just bring everybody up to speed on that.
Yep, did work with Nicole to get a bunch of details and information. Submitted the grant application the last week in January. I provided Nicole a copy of it before I submitted it. Let her do it. Mary didn't have any feedback, a couple questions. Nicole had a couple changes and wanted some additional information added that she got after I did the application. So I made those changes and submitted it. They did change the requirements. We could apply for $12,000 for them instead of 10. So I asked for the full 12. We adjusted their budget a little bit just to make it look like it was all for security. Just adjusted their numbers.
Do you know when their February meeting is?
I do not.
Yeah, because you said they would decide in
Yeah,
February.
they decided for February.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Also, just so everybody knows, we did follow our new process. So we filled out the paperwork that we were applying for the grant. I signed it, Bill signed it, because we needed 2 people to sign it. And then I sent it to Michelle and Mary Rupp and asked it to forward to the boards. So that's part of our new, I figured we should probably break the ground by actually following our new process. And I think that sets a precedent that, it's not hard to do. I mean, Scott filled it out in minutes and, we just had to sign it, so. Okay, any other questions on that?
All of the which projects are wrapping up. If they're all done, submitting, final payouts even on the ready, things that the LDC are not in charge of, but just keep everybody up.
Yeah.
Everything's being submitted.
So as I was looking through the report, I wish we flipped it. So we, if you think about it, date wise, it starts at like the oldest stuff and then you've gotta go all the way to the end. It should probably be flipped. I don't know if anybody else finds that annoying, or maybe we flip it for all future projects. Just because it's like, you're scrolling and saying, oh yeah, I finally at the end, as opposed to just being able to go to each page. And if we had a table of contents, it would,
In Excel.
it's in Word.
Oh.
I guess it depends, because coming on board, and I didn't know what the heck an LWRP is, and I don't profess to know what it is now, but it was great to get the notes and start from the beginning.
Yeah.
And said, okay, as I scroll down, and it just told me a story.
Yeah, it does. You'd have to read from the bottom up that way.
Right, and so for me, I actually found it useful now.
Okay.
In the future, if I knew, from the start to the end, maybe. But for me, as a new guy, I found it beneficial to keep it as is.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if we know to jump to the end too, if we're up to date.
Yeah.
on it, we can just jump to the end.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, if everybody else is fine with it, I'm fine.
Club Street.
Yeah.
Worked with Edgewater to provide a lot of details and information that the town requested to try to promote the project. We made some 24 by 36 boards that the town's getting printed to put out in the office and our events. There's all the stuff on the website, posted presentations and funding information on the website.
New information.
No, in
No,
January.
oh, in January,
In
okay.
January, we did that. There will be new, I don't know if you're gonna put those boards on the website, you probably could, they're PDF.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the website.
Well, you guys are gonna do FAQs like Jeannie suggested
Yep.
too, which I think will
We're
be
just getting
incredibly
a couple
helpful.
Clarity answers from Edgewater,
Yeah,
but they should be up in the next week.
yeah.
That's when they come in.
And what would be good, and if, even if we ask the chamber when those go up, because the chamber's got such a social media presence. Post it on Facebook, and then every one of us
That would cover a lot.
share it. It gets a lot of people to, because I don't think people just automatically go out to the town and village websites.
The chamber, that process.
Yeah, so that'll be good, because I think that'll help.
Straightforward language that everybody should understand,
That's great.
phase, grant money, dollar amount, one can't have, this is first, is the second, but.
Yeah, and how much money's been spent so far? Right? I mean, I think that needs to
A lot
be,
more to be spent, unfortunately.
well, yeah,
Sorry for being late.
no problem. We're just glad you're here.
Stuck in a cyber exercise since the 8th.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so, since we're talking about Club Street, Dan, I asked you this before the meeting started. Is there something that the LDC should be doing that would be,
Put out bullets for the village, the chamber, the LDC. In letters of support, we're gonna go after county and state officials for any support they can share. Still looking for ideas, anything and everything to get the word out. I assume we may do another one, maybe 2 public meetings.
and when's the referendum?
Has to be, vote has to be between, I think it's March 30th and April 15th.
Okay. You do some articles in the
Yeah, we can, like I said,
I would suggest you do some articles. I think it's well read.
Channel 7 did it, sorry.
Yeah. When were the dates of the referendum?
pretty sure it was between April 1st and April 15th. You have 60 days and no longer than 75 from the close of the petition.
So Dan, I mean, should the board have a motion to write a letter of support and,
I mean, I think it would be appropriate. I
Yeah.
think Paul is probably gonna get some bullets that we really want.
in the
In the
letter?
letter,
Okay,
but yeah, any support that we can show in our minutes, and if
Mhm.
anybody joins our website and checks it out, absolutely.
and we could certainly point to it from our website. I'm sure Joe would do that for us.
Yeah, and we can share what we've got on our website, with you and the chamber and the village, and
So how do people feel about that? Do you feel we should be writing some kind of a letter of support on Club Street, and what are people's thoughts?
I think we should wait until we get what their talking points are, but yeah.
Others?
Yeah, I think we should push.
Mary,
it.
Mary? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Dave, wait 1 sec. Jim, go ahead. And then
I just had a technical question again about the referendum. Did he end up getting the certified signatures for
Yeah.
the referendum to be held?
Yeah, they did.
yeah.
So it is certified, okay.
105 to start with. I don't know, we've had probably 10 people come back and cross their names off. Once they got some more facts. They kicked a few off that weren't, I don't know, if they weren't registered voters or what, but they only needed 56. So yeah, there will be a referendum.
Oh, turned your volume up.
Okay.
Turn my volume.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Okay, that's good. Scott joined and there was a feedback, but we should be good. Okay, okay. And while he's pulling that up, Dave, you had a question.
Well, I was just thinking that we should be able to partner with the other organizations in town too, and see if they can join us in that support letter, like the Legion, the Lions Club, those other ones that are out there.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Everybody.
Yeah, so I guess we wait till we get the talking points and then we do a motion about showing our support. And what's the right way for us to do that? Or do you want to ask the motion now? Yeah, Jeannie, go ahead.
I have a question. Should we get TI Sun to publish an editorial of our support? It might get more exposure, and they're always looking, we do advertise in the TI Sun.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a big issue. It's going to get news. But I think that might even be a better place instead of
That's what
just,
I do.
we can do a letters, like, but should we do something as an editorial about, and depending on the bullet points we want to make, after we gather people's concerns, then maybe we can answer some of those concerns in an editorial.
Can I
Yeah,
just follow up,
editorial's a
Jeannie,
good
on your
idea.
comment?
Yeah, go
Jeannie,
ahead,
if I
Tim.
could follow up on your comment,
Yep.
I'd suggest that you get as many people who was before this, as were mentioned before, that were intending to endorse it anyway. And a full page ad in the Thousand Island Sun can only cost a couple $100 at that point, right? I get the Thousand Island Sun at home here as well, right? And whenever I see a full page ad, I'm telling you, every single time I look at that thing and I go, what? And I read it and I read it. Why a full page ad? And I know it can't be expensive, and it doesn't preclude doing something else like the letters to the editor. I've had some contact with them recently about that. And I think you might want to consider both, because I think the drama close to a referendum of having that the week before as a page that everyone will see. And then it's possible you can get reprints from what was done for the ad, and you fold them in half and you leave them at places like the laundromat, and you leave them at places like Audrey's, or you leave them at places where people can go. So it has a little bit of a spillover thing that helps you get the stuff, and you post it on your own site, wherever you want to put the site, the Chamber of Commerce stuff, anything like that. You say, as seen in the Thousand Island Sun. And for most people, when they see a reprint of an ad any place, they go, as seen in the Thousand Island Sun. It's a chance if they didn't see it before, see it. And if they did see it before, it says, wow, this is an important issue. That's the only thing I would add to Jeannie's thing.
Yeah, both good suggestions. So what do people think? Should we wait, get the talking points, and then decide how we want to do this? Well,
So my recommendation is, it sounds like the consensus, we are okay with some sort of advertising that we got. So rather than wait to the next meeting or have to do something ad hoc for the vote, because anything you vote has to be public, since we're public now, why don't we go ahead and put it forward a motion, something along the lines that we go ahead and advertise. We don't say really what the mechanism is, whether it be a letter to the editor, whatever. We agree that we want to go ahead and provide support. That's the motion. The money for that is already covered in one of our policy letters, because as long as it doesn't exceed, like, I don't know, $1,000 or $1,500 or like that, we can execute that without a vote. Because we've already tied it as a way ahead, if indeed that's the way we want to go. So we can make that motion now.
I agree.
Well, once
Okay.
we get the talking points.
all right, yeah,
We don't
right,
say
but this way we've got the vote out of the
Right.
way. I agree. That sounds like it makes a lot of sense. All right, so Bill, I think you have a motion on the table. Would you like to articulate that again so Jeannie gets it?
Oh, sure. I'd like, I'd like to put forward a motion that after we get the talking points, that the LDC pursues and add a letter or some sort of information campaign to go ahead and support the Club Street project.
Okay, can I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, we got Jim as a second. Any discussion? Everybody in favor? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Jim.
No, only that when you get the points and you're going to go to the paid ad, if anybody wants me to either put a second set of eyes on the ad or write it myself, I'm happy to volunteer.
So Jim's
That would be
volunteering.
option B would be you doing it. Yeah, that's great. I pick option B. All right, all in favor of us doing a public support of the Club Street project from the LDC, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Jim, if you need any graphics, I can get them for you as well. Just let me know what you're looking for and I'll get you some graphics.
Excellent.
These are the boards that we developed, that the town's gonna print. So there's a scenario one.
I like the one you got up there, Scott, the one that shows the boats and the openness. Yeah, something like that, that shows progression. Because I think people don't have enough, they don't have a perspective of how this is going to be for us.
It's showing what we have now already in place. So if they move forward with the to purchase of the property and they do not receive the New York forward, hopefully we'll hear any day now. I did hear that they approved some other plans, so hopefully ours is approved.
Hmm.
That's phase one, what we have today without, any other funding in place. This would be what we have today plus the New York Forward application. That
Okay.
shows the difference in the land, all the landscape and the different components of the New York Forward application in place. This is all three. If we receive the big grant, which has already been submitted to the federal government, we hope to hear in March and April. And then obviously, well, I only have three right now. I don't have the fourth one with me.
Okay.
And Scott, is it a big deal to take that one that's on the screen now and just simply tint the water the slightest blue possible? I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but this is a good one to use for the.
I agree.
Yeah, I can see if we can make the water look a little more blue.
Yeah, just tint it slightly blue.
It looks a better color on my screen than it does on that up there, so.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's a good approach.
And I don't tend to know what the hubbub is about, so what happens? The referendum happens and people vote to defeat the Corp Street project. Does that mean none of this happens or part of this happens?
Without the purchase of jacks and trottiers,
Yeah, nothing happens. Okay, so it's an all or nothing thing.
What,
everything we've done to date
what will
was
happen,
the premise that this was gonna go to completion.
what will have to happen is we will take, I don't know if you see my, I don't know if you can see, okay, you can see that.
Yeah.
little area. What is it? The property we own now is the Swenson property
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
To complete this project and utilize all the grant money, we're gonna build that little walkway with one little dock out there. That's all we can do, because we wouldn't own property on either side. So to complete, just close out the grant, otherwise we will lose all our grant money, and the town's already spent $650,000.
Go back to
Okay.
the other one.
All right, but we still.
Trottier's property is directly in front of that property where we bought the house.
Okay,
Now you can't see it.
so our messaging is basically, we've got sunk costs. If this, whatever the one that has everything, this is the future. This is what this project gets us.
Yeah, we have 600,000 invested and paid for
Right.
to date
Already by taxpayers or by grant money?
by tax, well, a little bit of grant money, but mostly taxpayers paid for it. And if we don't get jacks and trottiers, we own the water, but we have no access to it.
If they choose not to go forward, and the town says, we're not doing the suspension property, we're giving the state back the money. We got maybe 60,000 in grant money to cover $700,000 in expenses.
And we're walking away from 3.1 to 3.2 million in addition.
Gotta be a way to get this message out.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, that's why I think
Whatever
it's
the
really
hubbub says.
important that we voice.
But that's what needs to be voiced, because this is a,
The sunk funds is an important
I
concept
don't
that
know
people
what
probably
the
don't get.
opposition is.
Nobody
Nobody
knows.
told me yet.
nobody knows any of that. This is the first I've heard that we've already put money forward. I'm for the project. I'm just trying to help get.
That's what everybody says, to sign the petition. I'm for it, but let's go spend 30 grand and do a referendum. It makes no sense.
But I think probably what people don't realize is this money has been spent, and if we stop, just what you just described, people just don't get it.
Yeah.
It's the transparency, Dan, same thing I talked about last week.
See, we've been doing this for 3
At the
years.
public hearing the other night, we spoke, we said we had $600,000.
You know, but you know what I think it is? Yeah, no, I know.
The only number that hasn't been put out there, and I think they're working on it, at the end of this, if we get all three of these grants, all the money flows in, the bands are done. If the projects come in at budget, the town will bond for $683,000. $683,000 over 30 years is X amount of dollars a year. At the worst case scenario, it's 8 cents a thousand or 10 cents a thousand. That's the worst case scenario. That don't include increase in sales tax, increase in property tax value, new homes, anything that comes along with that. So that's the only number that we haven't came up with and put out there, is what's the maximum tax amount over 30 years? And if it's
But
eight,
I
I
think-
think it's 8 cents a thousand is what we're talking about.
Worst case.
Worst case scenario is 8 cents a thousand, this project will add to your taxes.
But I think that the thing is, and Dan, I agree with you, lots of this has been out there, but it's been people who are very involved in it are paying attention to it all the time, and everybody else just sort of skips over it once in a while and they forget what they heard before. So I think this, this big concerted effort of, let's tell you again, let's keep telling you over the next,
Oh, that's
6
our plan.
weeks.
And I think also if you dumb it down, because it needs to be,
Yeah,
8 cents per thousand is say, okay, so if your house is 100,000, it's $8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't quote
you
me
know.
that number yet. We're still working on
But,
it.
No,
you
but-
know, I
but-
mean,
In that
people
range.
don't get that. They
Yeah.
don't even get that.
They don't even
concept.
understand their tax bill.
Correct.
no, they
If
don't.
they looked at what the town tax is, it's nothing. We don't control the.
So
county
that's
tax.
just the way to get
That's
people on the
worst case
page.
scenario. I mean,
Yeah.
if you budgeted $200,000 in sales tax and this year we got $300,000 in sales tax, you're not increasing your taxes at all because the extra revenue came.
Yeah.
It's-
But I think, but I do think something like the worst case scenario is a good approach.
And isn't everybody willing to pay $8 to have usage of this beautiful area? You
I
know,
would think
that's,
so.
But it's also being spun that it's transient dockage only, and when the locals hear that, they hear, I can't use it. So you gotta take the transient piece out of it. That's what they're
The
hearing.
big grant is
It
transient.
is, but do we, like,
But
Can't you guys just use public docket?
yeah, change the wording, like it does, the grant.
Make
is-
it, relate to your audience, guys. You gotta relate to the audience. And I
Say
think too, the pros and cons, what has the community invested to get us to this point? And then what are we going to get for that investment? I think it's that what's in it for me mentality we've got to publish. And as I think about this for the referendum, is it just certified voters of the town of Cape? Or is it when they go to vote on this, who's qualified to vote?
I would assume any homeowner, any property owner, anybody.
Any
but
property owner?
Don't they have to be registered to vote according to the
I
petition?
don't believe so.
I think,
They have to be registered to vote.
I think so.
They do to sign the petition, but I don't know if they do to vote.
How can you prove their revenue?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I think
yeah.
you have to be a registered
I
voter.
think you gotta be a registered voter. Well, you just had referendum on the water district. How'd they vote on that? I think you gotta be a registered voter.
Well, to sign the petitions, I know you did, but I'm not sure.
I think you have to be, because otherwise you could bring
Water
family
district,
members.
just-
Right.
We all live in
You
that
gotta
house.
be a property owner in.
They'll move in with.
Okay, all right, so good. So we passed that motion. Thank you for that suggestion, Bill, and getting that out of the way. And thank you, Jim, for volunteering to do the ad. I think that's awesome. So Dan, you'll get us talking points as soon as you have them and we'll do what we need to do. Excellent.
Thank you.
Strategic plan.
I've got the outline, I've got the key points in it. As I said, this month was a little busy. I didn't get
Yeah.
as much time to do it as I wanted to have more information for you, and then just, waiting on the survey.
Right, so it felt like the survey, I know I sent you one last minute thing about trying to combine a couple of questions just to shorten it up. Overall, people seem to like the survey. I mean, that was sort of the, maybe send it around one more time, Scott, and folks read it with, a really, pay attention
Critical.
and critical. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you. Critical eye. Now, we talked a little bit about mailing list, so let's chat about that.
Before that though,
Okay,
if we're gonna get into Survey Monkey, before we finalize the survey, I think we need to log into Survey Monkey and make sure, because I don't know if you can put other and comment and all that on every question. I think I said that in the first one, you know what I mean? If there's, I don't.
Mandy, you've got a lot of experience in Survey Monkey, right?
No. The only one I ever did was the one we did here.
I've done them a couple years ago.
I haven't done them in
I'll
years.
Change.
Because first you had all their own stuff.
Other and let people make a comment on every question or not. I did look at like the membership, or like, what level you can join at and how many questions you can ask and how many responses you get back, but it doesn't say like what type of question you can ask.
Well, we're going to be limited by the tool, but Survey Monkey is a standard tool to do
I
this.
think you can have other,
Let them
on
comment.
them, if I remember correctly, and the one I did, was the cheapest one, and it was, I only did 10 questions, but if you pay for having more, you can have more, and you can get more data back out of it.
So yeah, so Scott, we'll look for you to, give us a recommendation. But I mean, do we need a motion to authorize him to get reimbursed to buy this and put it together? Probably.
No, I
Not
think
really.
it's gonna be under the $1,500.
It will be. Yeah, it'll be under the 1,500, but because Scott would be buying it as opposed to a member of the board, I didn't know if it needed. a
Well,
motion.
did you guys,
Do we wanna get it?
did you get a debit card?
I have a debit card.
Yep.
Because I think it's a monthly recurring fee. So you might want to put it on your own debit card.
Yeah, and you
instead
can
of
cancel it.
charging you monthly.
Okay, so Scott, can you work with Carol
Yeah.
to get
I think
that?
that looking at it now, like the middle package that allows you to have some additional questions is $25 per user, up to 3 users. They're starting with 3 users. So I mean, you only need 1 user,
And we'd only need it for a couple of months.
right?
And that's well within what we've authorized the treasurer to go ahead and do without a vote.
No, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, and then we can get Joe to put it on our website. We talked about possibly using this, so, we have all the tax people in this envelope. However,
We have what, did you say?
all of the people who pay town taxes in this
There's a
envelope.
thumb drive in
There's a thumb drive in here. However, Scott, why don't you talk about what we discussed, which would be more efficient than Mary trying to pull all the.
So if we go
out.
by labels. Shell can just print all those on a label for us, and then we can go through and pick out duplicate labels. And if we write the letter with the code on it, the Village of West Carthage has a machine that I can go in on my personal time and use that. You can put the letters in one file and the envelopes in another, and it trifolds them and stuffs them for you and spits them out at the end. So if you purchase the envelopes, I'll get what size you need or how they need to be. And then it's just a matter of somebody taking the labels from your cell and putting them on all the envelopes, because they'll already be folded and stuff.
So we're talking of mailing this and doing it via email, et cetera.
Well, what we,
QR code, not-
yeah, what we,
That's up to you guys.
yeah, what we had talked about was, could we create a letter that sort of is a bit of an advertising for the LDC, right? So something short, and then it would have our URL to get to our website. Oops. Which is, so simple, capevincentldc.org, right? So people could just type that in and say, we prefer you to do this online. But maybe on the back, say, but here's a hard copy if you want to mail it back to us. Right? Like, because some people don't want to do something online. And mail it. So we'd have first class mailing, no duplicates, because we would take care of that. And then it would get to, all the taxpayers. The duplicates are because people own multiple properties. And so you get them on the list twice. We don't want to mail it to them twice. So that was the thought on how we might do it.
Because you need a letter, so it forwards, right, Mayor?
Exactly. So we'd have to
Yeah.
pay the first class, but I'm curious because I know the town has a bulk mail thing that they use for a cheaper postage. And we could run it through the town and reimburse the town, because I know the chamber has one, because the lighthouse has used the chambers. So we can at least get a bulk mail, which would be a little cheaper than, postage stamps. So what do you guys think of that as an approach to get this out?
Yeah, I think as long as it can be forwarded by US mail, that's the key factor.
Yeah, we do first class mail, because that's what Bill found out that we needed to do.
Yep.
Okay, everybody good with that sort of approach, and we'll continue to work down that?
So it's a two-pronged approach, which is basically post it somewhere or to go here online. And the letter campaign is kind of a little bit about us. So by the way, here's a hard copy if you don't want to do it online.
But we encourage him to do it online.
Bottom of the letter be a QR scan code that they can take their cell phone and scan it.
Right.
Which is,
Mm-hmm.
does.
Right.
that,
But we
yeah.
can, I think we should also list the website, because not everybody knows.
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
we
oh,
will. And again, because we have that vanity
Or-
URL, it makes it
And
really
it'd be
nice.
smarter to list the LDC website,
Right.
and come to our website and click the link, so then they've got our.
Right, and I think Joe can put it right on the front because that's what we did with the admin position, right? So we'll just ask Joe to say, answer our survey now, click, and then off to Survey Monkey to do it.
Cost, short term, we'll pick up enough labels for shelving them and
Yep,
enough paper or
envelopes,
or-
yep, and just get reimbursed if you don't mind.
And we just need the specs for the labels and the envelopes.
I'll get the
Yeah.
specs for the envelopes, I'll go buy the envelope, if you want, just.
Yeah.
Take care of the bill.
Yep, perfect. That way we have the right stuff.
Yep.
And Scott, do you want to make an attempt at what that letter might look like to go to them, or would you like somebody on the board to do that?
Somebody on the board if they'd like, Jim,
Jim? Somebody on the board like Jim?
this was Jim's idea.
So, just I do have one question. Are we planning on putting the survey into the envelope that we send to them so that they can send it back?
Well, so we're gonna, this is what I'm thinking, in the letter in the front,
Yeah.
right? So we'll do two-sided copies. It'll say, you should go to this website to do it. And then on the back say, if you really aren't comfortable doing this online, you can fill this out and mail it back at your own expense.
We're
Because,
not putting a return envelope in.
Right.
right, so there, it
That's
won't,
where I was going.
I mean, we'll put it there, so if there's somebody who lives in town and is like, I just don't wanna
Or
go
they can drop
online.
it off where?
Right, they
Survey
could drop it.
is going to be multiple pages. It's not gonna be one page.
Yeah, it's not gonna be.
No, so I don't think we
Is
can
it-
mail the survey. I think it's, I just,
That's what I was thinking is.
Mm,
the
yeah,
QR
good
code
point.
is really all we end up with.
yeah, the QR code and the website and mailing it will be, like, because you'll have. multiple-
Can we say something like, maybe have hard copies at the town office?
Yeah.
And say, if you wanna pick them up, you could pick them up at the town office?
The office, they're sitting on the desk.
Yeah,
We can ask, like, we could ask a lot of
The
places.
post office?
Yeah,
yeah, say,
You could even say, if you want a hard copy, mail us, send you one by email. I mean, I could attach-
yeah, we could do that. We could do that.
Email. the
All right,
information.
so Scott, do me a favor, if you don't mind, because I know you're busy, but it's like you're the brain trust on this. Kind of bullet out what should be in the letter, and then Jim, would you be willing to try to craft it?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so yeah, and then send it to Jim. You can copy all of us in case other people have other ideas, but and then Jim, if you could start crafting the letter. And Carol, you'll work to get the Survey Monkey purchased.
He'll tell me what he wants.
Exactly, and you just have to go on and use our debit card. And then Scott, you're gonna get the envelopes and the,
Yep, I'll contact Michelle, see what side of the label she needs. And I'll put the envelopes in the label.
excellent. All right, good. Sounds like we got that. Great. Thank you all very much. Anybody else have anything else on that?
Michelle can play too, do that.
She said labels.
Print right to
If I
the
give her
envelope,
the label.
print right on the envelope.
Addresses on that. instead of a
Yeah,
label.
she said she would print the label.
Yeah, the thing is,
This label.
If I give her envelopes, can she put them in the printer and just have them printed right on the envelope?
Oh, that I don't know.
That might
She
just
said
be,
she could print the label.
I'll ask her. I'll call her.
Specialty.
All right.
there.
it's a specialty print button.
yeah. All right, excellent. Thank you, Scott. I know that was a lot. And thanks, Jim, for you stepping up on those things. Really appreciate it. Okay, yep. Did you have something else? Nope, he said fine. Okay. Treasurer.
Okay, CD purchase. I did buy the 50K CD on January 12th, so that matures on July 12th.
Yes, excellent.
The audit is ongoing, no issues, a lot of interaction, but, there's hardly anything to audit, so I don't expect any problems. It's just a formality, really. We did just in the mail get our New York State tax exemption, so if we're buying anything, I'll scan this up, but we're tax exempt.
You,
Very nice.
Yeah,
you go online and set up an account at Staples with that?
I probably could. Yeah,
I just didn't know if that'd be easier than me trying to go in.
No, it's a good
already
idea.
set up.
but I'll also scan this up
Yeah.
into our folder, so it's
Yeah.
available for anybody if we're having to make a purchase under the correct name and we don't.
And
pay
you know,
tax.
that makes me think about the Survey Monkey. I wonder if we get a cheaper price now that we have our 501(c)(3), just like QuickBooks is supposed to be cheaper.
Yeah, which I haven't, done yet. It's on
Well,
my
yeah,
list of
I
not
mean,
done.
honestly, Carol.
On the list of not done things. I should stay home a little bit, but I'm going back to Florida in another 2 weeks, so.
Oh, my gosh.
So open a Staples account is a good idea.
No, that was a good idea.
Okay, I'll give that a shot.
Okay.
Oh, I think everybody has seen this leap year party that is, it's a member mixer, Chamber of Commerce. It came in our emails, but if anybody wants to go to the member mixer, they're welcome to do so. You pay it yourself, it's $10 or something.
Yeah.
Dan's going up in Florida. For checks this month, very little. Scott, 28,1250, rent 150, but books 6480. Of which 480 is tax.
Mhm.
So I do need to get that accomplished. And try to get the bill lower too.
All right.
So I'd like to make a motion to pay these invoices.
A motion?
Second.
So Mandy motion, Bill seconded.
Bill did, or Dave did?
Dave, I'm
Dave
sorry.
seconded.
It was Bill pretending he was Dave. Pretending he was Bill. It was Dave seconded. I'm sorry, that was my bad. Okay,
Do you want me to scan this to you, Jeannie? This little report? Do you put?
You can put it in the files, if you want to put it just in files to review, or you can scan either or.
the only other thing from a treasurer, I went out to see when our lease was up. Because I thought it was March, but it's April. So should we just in our March meeting, just pass a motion to renew the lease? Or should we have a conversation with him to make sure he's not changing anything before then?
We should make it that decision now and pursue it now.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion that we continue with our lease, especially since hopefully we're gonna have an admin person who can actually sit in there once in a while. And now I finally have a key, so I'd feel really bad if we gave it up and I haven't even used my key yet. So, I'd like to ask if, we can pursue getting the lease renewed for our office. Can I have a motion on that, please?
I make that motion.
Okay, so Pam motioned and Carol seconded. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, done. You know what? When I take the check,
Yeah, you can.
I'll
have
talk
that
to Mary Ann
conversation.
about it.
Perfect.
Okay. Anything else from a treasurer report?
No.
Okay. Do any of the committees, I mean, we talked about Club Street. Bill, anything from governance?
The only thing I would put out is, and I actually had to write all this down, so I already know we're in a great spot from governance because we've done the self-evaluation, we reappointed all the officers, added Dave, updates some policies, et cetera. And those are things that normally by the charter that would be done by the governance committee, but because we do them as part of the meetings and everything like that, we're in a great spot for the governance committee. So we're still required to go ahead and meet twice a year, but we're already doing these things not in committee, so we're in a great spot.
But you do
Yeah.
still have your meeting.
I think it was like in the summer sometime. I think it was the last time the governance
Right.
had to meet. Yep. Okay, great. And
So-
Carol, anything from finance?
Well, only that I did send Dave an email.
I have not responded to it yet, but I will. I did see it come in, but I've been in Oregon this week, so I will absolutely
Consider that.
consider that.
I asked if he might want to chair finance instead of me,
Oh, that's probably a good
because
idea.
I'm feeling sinking.
And the other ones, yes, I'll do it.
In other words, Yasha would do it.
Yes.
So what do we have to do to make that change?
We probably, does there have to be a resolution or can that just be a motion? I think it might have to be a resolution because we have a resolution that says who's on the committees. Bill, can you check?
Did you all have a resolution for me? I thought you just said, Bill, do you want to take it over? And I said, yeah.
I think what we did was, yeah, we said, but it was part of the January meeting. We asked you before and then it was in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Smoke and mirrors though.
We're gonna have to create a resolution, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, so Bill, would you mind writing a resolution to change that? And then we can just talk about it at our next
Yeah.
meeting.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Thank you. And then the other thing I did is I added Dave into our QuickBooks because the auditors felt that someone else should be able to get in there, immediately. The auditors can get in, I can get in, but I added him as a backup, so, less test.
Yeah.
So
That-
I don't know if you've accepted that invitation yet, but that's also
I
in there
accept
now.
the invitation.
I said Bill, I meant Dave.
excellent.
People confuse us all the time.
No.
So we get it.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Mandy, I think we've got childcare later. Did you have anything from a vice chair
No.
perspective? And I don't have anything. Jeannie, anything from you?
No,
Okay, moving on, old business. All right, so we have three resumes for the admin position. I put them in the Google Drive, so everybody could see them. They're varying levels of experience. But it probably would make sense for us to interview all three but two things. One is we should have an interview committee and who would like to be on that. And then, Jeannie, because of your expertise, one, I was hoping you'd be on that committee, and two, I was hoping, that you would sort of lead the interviewing questions.
want me to create a selection?
Yeah,
I can
I
do
think
that really easy.
I figured you could do that very easily. So Jeannie would be on the interview committee. And I think I should be on it only because a lot of the work this person would be picking up are things that I've been doing. But I
Okay.
think we should at least have a third person. I don't know. What do you guys think? And Dan, I'm almost thinking, should you be on it only because ultimately the way they're gonna be hired by the town? Okay, I didn't know
I
if
think
that,
it'd be better if Pam and I weren't, to be honest with you.
okay,
That's my opinion.
okay.
Yeah, I think we should have three people though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who would like to be a third?
Wes, unless you're, I'm just thinking as the town liaison, I'll just take it back and say, here's what our board decided.
Okay, that's fair.
I can do it.
All right, so Mandy will be the third.
Would we like to do virtual?
Yeah, we'll do virtual. We'll just do virtual.
I can coordinate Teams virtual meetings for the candidates.
Okay, excellent.
I just need availability, but I'll do that. I can get availability, Mary, from you and Mandy.
Yep,
And we can, I'll build out a selection criteria so we can grade. And then it's gonna be simple, it's admin, so it won't be
yeah.
that expensive.
And just so you guys know, the ad is open till the 21st. So we've got a little bit of time still, but I figured this was the next time we were meeting. So if this
Okay,
subcommittee can just do their thing, hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have a recommendation. Okay, excellent. So the Mandy, Jeannie, Mary show, we got it.
okay.
All right, Dan,
Yes.
you're up. Anything besides Clove Street, or do you feel like that's consumed your life?
Consuming my life, but, Paul and I met with the mayor, and if you're not aware, we've done a sewer study down Route 12.
Mhm.
It goes back a couple, 3 years. We did a survey. Based on the funding at that point, it was, I don't know, 1250, something like that. We've got new funding available. And we are in crunch mode, and Paul would like to request that this board conduct the survey, handle it, work with our engineering firm, Barton and Judas. Again, based on facts to get the word out, what this would mean. It's certainly community development. It's gonna be upwards of $35 million if it's anything that flies. So he's throwing that out there, and it needs to be done very quickly because we're in crunch mode to determine if we're gonna even move forward with it. So based on the survey, if it comes back positive, based on the actual EDU or the funding, then our board is gonna make a decision whether we continue to spend money and pursue the grants.
What's crunch time? What's the
Um,
timeline?
Paul would get the parameters probably from our next meeting and would want it out ASAP.
Do you have a survey already created?
We have a survey completed, Barton with Judas has it. And really the only thing we would need to do is update the cost. The projected EDU costs for funding
Has it come down?
considerably.
Cause I was 100% not for it because there's no opting out. And I have spent gazillion dollars on a septic at Angel Rock.
Yeah.
And just like the water, when that went in, I literally was the highest paying taxpayer of the whole water system down there.
And,
To the tune of-
you know, this isn't for personal opinions,
Mhm.
it's facts. I mean, it's a survey. We're gonna base our decision if we're gonna continue to invest in this
Mhm.
based on what people from the Cape down to the prison feel.
It would be nice if there was an opt-out piece, is my point.
Again, right now, our board isn't even in favor. We're looking for input from the taxpayers.
I think with DEC,
We're gonna have to do it eventually.
We are,
And if we, my opinion, we're gonna have to do it, and there's money now.
there's a lot of money right
We
now.
need to do it when there's gonna be more cost effective for everybody, and if there's gonna be more cost effective, eventually DC, I don't know if that's where you're going, Scott, eventually DC is gonna catch up and like, all the sewage is going into the river. We need to fix this.
now instead, I was gonna say, I don't think they allow for an opt-out. You don't have to hook and pay the usage fee, but because it's your property and the option to connect, you have to pay
Yeah.
the debt service. So even if you opt out, you have to pay an annual debt service. You know, usage. Property having sewer on site is a benefit in their eyes.
And most of the riverfront communities have expanded their municipal sewer. Clayton, the Bay, Floristone.
If you move forward, you're gonna apply for a WIA grant.
Oh, I mean, if the
I was
funding
gonna
is
say, it's due in June,
there,
so you've got, it's due in June, so you have to have all these things in
Right.
place, which include secret and bond resolution.
so
So
Anyway.
so just trying to understand the ask. So the survey is created by the engineering firm. What exactly does Paul need us to?
just like we're doing on our survey,
So it, but
send
this
it
is,
out.
all right,
pay for it. It's about last one was about $5,000. Might be a little more now, who knows? Collect the results.
to do the survey. $5,000 to do the survey.
Can't jump in. Did Jerry call you?
Jerry did call me today and said that we support the concept of, having the survey done. And, we have a board meeting on Tuesday, we have all the board members weighing in, but, he was, supportive of this group tackling it if they wanted to.
And we haven't passed it with our board either. This is just.
Right, this is, yeah, but
I would say, because I was involved in DEC at the time, the sewer plant was built with the capacity to bring in new users, and the additional users would reduce the cost to everybody.
Correct.
yeah, I'm just trying to understand what the work, so there's a $5,000 charge that's being asked for. But again, with an all volunteer board and no admin at this first point, like, what's the work? Right, so the town is asking for us to pay the $5,000 to do the survey? Is that the ask?
Handle
I
it,
guess,
yeah.
I guess just like we're doing the other print envelope stuff, mail them, collect the results.
Collect the results, work with,
Would it be
work
online?
with B and L.
Put it online.
We can do, they said scan a barcode, Survey Monkey, paper, basically what we're already discussing.
But they have the survey already created.
So we have to buy the survey from the engineering company.
No, that's already.
So it wouldn't
So what's
cost
the
$5,000.
No.
That's what I'm confused about.
Probably mailing, they probably mailed it themselves last time.
That's what the last one
That's-
was.
Well, that's the cost because you paid Barton Lovaducci to do it, or?
No,
I can't.
Paul
imagine-
just said, let them know it was the last survey cost $5,000.
I can't
Well, if that's the case, then this one we're doing would be $5,000, so
Yeah,
It's
it's, it had to be hard copy and we paid someone to collate the
Would
data.
this just go to the river,
It's just
where
the
it's gonna
people
go?
in the district.
Oh, yeah, just Ron Covey.
Do we have a mechanism to get those? Like,
Oh, yeah.
just them, how, like, is that something Michelle can just?
We've already done it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
The
that.
town has already done the survey. One of the issues that we're trying to get away from is it was done by Barton and Judas,
That's
and-
fine.
and it's kind of a conflict of interest.
Okay.
You know, they're our engineer,
Okay.
you know, if I live on the river with down there, which I do, and I get it from Barton and Judas, and they're the ones that are gonna get paid to administer a $35 million grant, I might go, yeah, I don't like this. So Paul's thought was, let's take it away from them. It's a good opportunity for us to get our name out there. It's certainly community development.
That's why it's
Infrastructure.
$5,000 though, because they paid their intern, they charge you $150 an hour for.
Yeah,
somebody
it's
to-
somebody.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm sure that.
I'm just relaying what he told
Oh,
me.
yeah, no, we get it, yeah.
I'm just.
we just-
It's probably gonna be a lot cheaper because
Yeah.
if they did the survey, they charge you $125 or $150 an hour for somebody's time to stuff 200 envelopes to
Would be.
collect the results, to
Right.
file the results.
I'm just passing it on.
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying-
so I guess the question is if we could do it via Survey Monkey and they've already got that and we follow the process that we just described for our own survey. And I'm looking at you, Scott, because there's a Scott piece in that discussion, right?
Yeah.
Because Scott was doing a bunch of stuff with that. How does the board feel about that? Because it feels like there's an expense, but if we're already paying for Survey Monkey on a monthly fee, as long as that doesn't say we have to, because there's a lot more questions, we have to go to a higher level, that would have some expense to it. It seems like we just talked about a business process to do this, so we just follow that same process.
There wasn't a lot more questions.
There wasn't?
No, I was gonna say, it's probably not a lot of questions, it's probably, do you support this? Would
Yeah, it
you
was
be
pretty
willing to pay
simple.
up to
Yeah.
X amount of dollars?
Yeah. All right, so how does the board feel about that? To say, we do it via Survey Monkey, we do the questions they've got, and basically the heavy lift is Scott, really. We're using
I think-
Scott's hours for that.
I'm for it as long as we can, it's not gonna overtax Scott, or we need to look at adjusting other things that might be do. I don't know. I just-
Right.
Mandy, when the results came in on the Survey Monkey you used before, does it tabulate them and put them all nicely organized?
Yeah, it does.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I think that's the big thing, is if we offer Survey Monkey and they don't, and we offer print copies, the time.
Somebody's gotta type
somebody has
those
to
print
enter
copies
those.
in.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's not hard, but it's time consuming,
Yeah.
but, and, you know, and if we ended up with 50 of them, each board member takes 10, you know, like.
Yeah,
It's-
you can get it in.
Yeah.
You can get it
I
in,
think
because
it-
I've
yeah.
done that.
Do we know the numbers? How big of a survey will this be?
It's not that big.
Yeah, they're saying it's
A couple
short
pages or
question
something.
wise, short question wise. Do we know how many people?
I wanna say it was 1,200.
1,200
What do you
people.
think that's EDU? So like, if you have a trailer park, it might be one owner. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but I
Like,
don't know.
But I guess
I
so.
can get more numbers, I'm just.
no, I,
Well, yeah, we're just trying to make a good and as informed a decision as we can, Dan. And we know you don't have all those answers. right now.
My only concern honestly is that it's gonna be, if we're doing our survey and then we're sending another survey, they're gonna be like, I just did the survey, I'm not doing this one. There needs to be a time gap between the two.
That's absolutely right. Good
And,
point.
you know, that's the only thing with us doing it, it's another survey from the LDC.
I disagree. I mean, if you're getting a sewer survey in a district, which is Water District 1, I think that's gonna differentiate.
I think how we word it too might,
Yeah.
you know, like, I agree, we shouldn't send them like in 2 days of each other, right? I mean, there's gotta be a little bit of a gap there. But if we say in the letter, you know, the LDC, because this is a development project on behalf of the town, right? So it looks like what it is,
County in
it's-
the village,
the town and the village, right?
for sure.
but also regardless if we do it, town and village is gonna do it one way or the other, so there's gonna be two surveys going.
Right, at least this way we can make sure that it's sort of positioned correctly. So I guess the question before the board is, are we willing to take this assignment on for the village and the town? And, you know, basically using some of Scott's time to administer this survey, and because that's all we got. So can I have a motion?
We need to probably do one of those project forms.
It should, you know, actually, Jeannie, to your point, probably both this survey and this survey should be on Scott's report as projects, because
Yes.
they're
Only
gonna be.
fair to him.
Yeah, that's a good point. But so discussion, I mean, what do folks think before we go to a motion, you know?
I think it's, I agree with Dan, that it's another opportunity to get our voice out there, to the community, and as far as survey fatigue, people are either gonna have it or they're not, so they say they don't want to, they're not being asked their opinions and stuff. There's two more opportunities.
There you go, there you go. Jim, how about you? Any thoughts?
Just a question about the overlap. How intense is the second survey?
You mean the sewer survey?
Yeah,
I don't think it's too intense. It's basically,
Yes
if
or no?
if we were to pursue the existing and opportunities and grant funding, it might cost you $600 a month or a year.
Right.
$600, $700 a year for municipal sewer,
For EDU,
Yeah,
for
for
EDU.
or somebody who has
somebody has
30,
20 EUs, like
30
I didn't know. I was-
plus trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. That's why, you know, I'm just going,
Yeah,
but that's personal, but that, yeah. it's
yeah.
real.
So Jim, did that answer your question?
yeah, it is. I think this is in our philosophy, even though it's an infrastructure issue.
Okay. Jeannie, how about you? Any comments?
No, I think we should move forward and support the village and town.
Okay. Anybody in the room? I just want to make sure I get you guys on the phone. I always feel so bad that I don't.
So I just have one question. So I get the part one, which is get the survey, do whatever, get it out, and then collate the data. What's next? Is there a part two that we'll have to go ahead and either use your time to go ahead and pursue the grant, assuming it's more yeses?
No,
Okay, or
because
is it
they're,
just the survey.
their infrastructure grant, BNL will submit. They use Barnum and Judas to do their water and sewer grants.
Basically turn the results over to the town board.
And that's,
We're gonna, share with the village, and based on those results, we're gonna make a determination, do we wanna keep trudging along?
Yeah.
Or do we wanna pull the plug and be done with it?
If the village did a water or sewer grant, they would probably have us write it, but the town has always used their engineer to write their water and sewer grant. So it wouldn't take up my time to write the grant.
Okay. All right. So any other discussion? Can I have a motion, please?
I'll motion.
Dave has motion. May I have a second?
Second,
Okay. All right. So we got Jim. All in favor?
Hi.
aye.
Anyone opposed?
Reluctantly, I.
Okay. All right.
Well, hopefully the survey will say no.
So Scott,
Yeah.
I know this is putting another thing on your plate. I get that. So you need to let us know.
I would just add that like my contract's 12 to 16 hours a week. This month it was 20 something. If it continues each month, we will have to have a conversation about billing you extra or something, just to be fair.
Yeah,
I didn't,
Fair.
I didn't
yeah.
bill you this.
I think, yeah, no, and
You know.
I think what we did, and this was an extension of your existing contract, didn't we accrue some hours for low months? I thought we did. That was part of the contract. So hopefully there were some months there that weeks that weren't as busy. So we're not into overtime.
We've always been in that 12 to 16 hour range, and I'm just saying, if it continues each month, we might have to have another.
Yeah, and we'll have to be, and my hope is that once we have an admin person on board, there's some things that would come off your plate as well. That's my hope, right?
Like
So-
the survey manager.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You know, if we had an admin, they could have done all of this and not have that on your plate. So. All right. Anything else, Dan? Pam?
No, nothing. We're still waiting to hear from the state on the New York Forward projects. They still haven't gotten back to us. Hurry up and wait with them. We're still dealing with Horns Ferry, hoping to get that settled for the property takeover there.
Where is that in process?
Jerry has been, George Horn has gone to Florida. Attorneys are talking with him. It's all a lot of, telephone conversation, and there is supposed to be a meeting, I believe, early next week. So hopefully, they'll get everything signed, and I guess that's one good thing about the state being behind on New York Forward, because it's giving us time to wrap that up. We did a letter of support after getting some information from Scott Gray about the possible Vincent prison being on the list again for closure. So the village sent a letter of support opposing that. And other than having a few water line breaks this past week
I've seen that.
because of aging infrastructure, which is something that the village is going to have to address at some point.
Yeah.
Beautiful wastewater treatment plant that's state of the art, but you're gonna have to get out for some of the old pipes in the ground. They're not too far off, but hopefully there'll be lots of grant money for that as well.
Yeah. All right, good. Thank you, Pam. Jim, update on marketing.
I'm not sure exactly what part I was supposed to be following up on as opposed to all the emails I was getting and responding to along the way.
Yeah, the one thing I was hoping is, you were gonna work on a process with, for the chamber in order to be able to do those ads for Frontenac Island. Remember, there were the URLs that Mayor Judy said, are free for us. So when there's events in the Cape but we thought it would be helpful if the chamber had a business process. So it was, something's happening in the Cape.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, obviously I'm being caught by surprise by my
I'm sorry.
incompetence in doing that thing. I'm so sorry, but I was supposed to call somebody, I think.
Yeah. No, you were gonna write a business process and then talk to Christy.
Yeah, Christy, and then what to do with that. Yes, I didn't do it, mea culpa, but I know now what it is I was supposed to do.
Okay.
Actually, if I could, on the marketing side, there were a bunch of meetings that were held since, I think since the last meeting, but is there an update on that, or is that on the agenda somewhere?
It's not. So yeah, there's been a couple of meetings with the Arts Council and they're exchanging emails with Wolf Island. I think there's a couple of things that they're considering. One is them having some coordination with the piano competition so that some stuff would happen on Wolf Island. They have this very cool farm to table thing where they have musicians play at different organic farms and people go around to those. And so there was a discussion about doing that with a couple of the local organic farmers that we have. And, so it would be on both sides of the river. So, most of that's in play between the Arts Council and Wolf Island. So we're kind of on the outside, but the idea of how do we start to get, we had talked about how do we continue to utilize the chamber as our marketing arm? And since there's these free websites that go to Kingston and all that, so we just have to make sure that we have a business process that just gets stuff over there. So we were thinking, Jim was gonna work on that.
Yeah, and I know what to do on that one, and I'll jump on that. I apologize. That completely slipped off the table here for me. And was there one more thing about, there was somebody that was going to be talking in Toronto, I believe, at a conference about trying to get some support for the Horn Ferry.
Yeah, and yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take a to-do from that just to reach out to her to see how those meetings went, because Jerry wrote a really nice letter about everything that was going on in the village. She's gonna try to, the mayor of Frontenac Islands was going to try to get some more tourism money as well as a subsidy for Horns Ferry so that it would be cheaper for people to use from the province of Ontario. So let me, I'll do that, and Jim, I'll copy you on it.
That would be good, because I did have a conversation with her. And one of the things was how cleverly she could talk with Ontario provincial officials about supplemental money they could do that didn't look like a subsidy to the ferry, but would be going to Kingston and Ontario promotions that could tie us to them and them to us. And I didn't hear how that conversation went, but she knew.
Yeah.
She's a smart person, by the way. I don't know her,
Right.
but she was very quick and clever on a lot of this stuff.
Very impressive. She's very impressive. Okay, thanks, Jim. Mandy, childcare. We actually had some childcare stuff.
I have an update. So, there's a person who's interested in opening a childcare center. She has been working with the Small Business Development Center and has gotten linked up with Scott. She had some grant questions. There is a $500,000 grant that's available right now. The issue is, a couple issues is she needs land. If anybody knows any land in the village, preferred to be in the village, that is for sale, or she could lease. She has to have it in her name when she puts the grant in, and the grant is due in the middle of March.
It's got an 8-year lease.
Yeah, 8-year lease. The grant money, she's looking at doing a building, putting a building on the land. She'd prefer to buy the land. And she has a meeting with Steve Paul for building design. She's working on getting her DBA. She'd follow the school schedule with like breaks, but also have summer programs and summer camp and before and after.
Be great.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
So, I reached out to a couple village board members and, Christine, and she said that she was gonna talk to Jerry about any potential village land that you might be able to sell. So can you push that at your meeting?
He has to own it by the grant submission, has to be in the company name that applies for the fee and everything.
Mandy, make sure you give me her
That's
name.
right.
I might know of something.
Okay, so you just shoot me an email, like, I your contact information and everything. She's from the area, Stacy White Richardson now. She grew up here, but her and her husband had moved around quite a bit, and she ran a daycare and owned a daycare in Montana. So she knows what she's doing. It's not somebody this is brand new to them.
When does she have to put this grant in by?
March. Yeah. I want to say the 20-something of March. So
I don't see how she could have land even in her name
Yeah.
by then.
She could lease, she could
she
lease.
could lease
land.
it and
Oh,
lease
oh,
lease
oh,
it
yeah.
and get it to own. She just have an 8-year contract.
Okay,
It could be like,
a lease and then she could buy it out after. Mhm.
oh, okay, one more time then. I was thinking March.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
She was looking at the property on Main Street that has like a single wide on it, right next to Convertence, but that currently is sold. So that's kind of what she was looking at. And then there's another village property up right across here, from what I'm being told, the county owns. That's gonna come back to the village.
Okay, where we took the house down.
Yes, if you could check into that, because
Okay.
that was one that Christine mentioned.
Okay.
I just haven't heard back from Christine.
Okay.
That one might be something that.
Like right over here?
Yeah,
That'd be an
that'd be
ideal
great, 'cause it's
spot.
so close to
Right.
everything.
Ideal spot.
May 22nd, so, oh, that makes
May
sense.
22nd.
Is that gonna require zoning change?
I don't know,
Probably.
probably, but I'm hoping that the village and town can push that.
You don't need that before we submit. the-
Right.
We can do that after we
Yeah.
submit, yeah.
The one big thing is that Cape Vincent is a childcare desert, is what they call it, so there's extra funding that potentially besides the 500K that she could,
She can go up to $1 million.
yes.
500 to $1 million.
So the land right now is the big thing, so if anybody knows any land, please let us know.
The
Yep.
$500,000 minimum.
Yeah, minimum grant.
You can't ask for less than 500,000.
And she already talked to the Small Business Development Center, they're working on somebody to help her with the upfront, because she has to have 500,000. And then they reimburse, so she's
Right.
already looking at somebody.
It's 100% grant, so like,
Yeah, there's no,
did it all that.
Wow.
right,
it's amazing.
she's been working with Kathy, who we had come present to us 2 years ago.
Christine? Oh.
Oh, at the, childcare or
Right.
CAPC. So it's somebody that's actually moving forward. So I did, yeah, I spoke with her again today.
This isn't just a little concept in it,
No,
it sounds
No,
good.
but the issue is the grant timeline.
Mhm. Yeah, and you said May, so there's,
So May, we have a little more time.
okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
I'll send you her contact information, Mary, if you have,
Yeah, I do. I happen to know
Okay.
somewhere.
that'd be wonderful.
With
Okay,
Randy in the village,
it would be in the town.
village would be ideal,
Yeah,
right
she'd
over there would be
prefer,
ideal.
she'd prefer village. She has access to town land, but she really doesn't wanna go that route.
The land I'm thinking of is really close to the village, but it is town land.
That would, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Okay, new business. Okay, discussion of non-voting planning board and school board representation. This was brought up, when Clayton was here. So what are people's thoughts on this and how do you want to proceed?
I guess my question is, why these instead of others? What's special about these two? I don't know why we just have these two as opposed to, some boards have a mayor, some boards have other reps. Some folks have those reps and they're voting. Why these two? I don't remember why we selected these
I
two.
think it just came up because.
That
of
was-
comparison. to
Yeah, Clayton,
and-
yeah, Clayton
and it was
had
brought up
those.
Because of the zoning.
I think if you're pursuing new businesses or looking for economic development, having somebody that knows the zoning, because you know, on the village or the town, they don't know the zoning, they don't know the code and the process, having them have at least have their input that yes, this is good or this isn't good. And we've had a lot of discussion about education and about in school and somebody from the school.
Yeah, I'm not against, I just
No,
I
Yeah.
I
didn't
think those
know.
are, I think those are the two reasons, having a planning person that knows the codes and the process. Just to give their input when you're.
So
looking
we'd
at
be
projects.
asking someone to join our board.
Right, it would be what they, and again, there's different ways we could do it, right? But what Clayton did is they said they have them as non-voting liaisons, sort of, you know, we have Pam and Dan, but they're voting, right? And so would we want to add those? And if we do want to add those, you know, first of all, are they non-voting? Because we could change our bylaws and make them voting. Or we make them non-voting, I mean, just what are people's thoughts? Because it came up, people said they want to talk about it this meeting, so it's on the agenda.
I think the zoning / planning board would be critical, because we were just before this, we were asking a question about zoning as we bring new businesses in. As far as the school goes, you know, it's a TI district in reality, which includes Clayton, and so I'm not sure exactly how we separate out part of the school district and ask them to represent only part of their constituency. I think, you know, we focus on the planning board because it's here,
Yeah,
is my thought.
We can't fill our planning and zoning board members. I mean, I'm all for it. I think the chances of getting anybody to commit to
Another meeting a
another
month.
meeting, it's probably not. I mean, I don't know.
yeah.
but We can't get positions filled on the two boards.
It'd be nice to get Cody.
What's that?
It'd be nice to get Cody Diggins.
I think he's spread pretty thin,
Is it?
Let's say,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So I guess the one thing is, do we, the other way to do this, and I'm thinking out loud, do we ask one of our board members to, before the meeting, read the planning board, zoning board, like, sort of like Mandy, you're gonna be our chamber person, right? So we're not asking somebody from the chamber to come to another meeting. Mandy's gonna sort of be our liaison to the chamber and bring us back any chamber stuff we need to know. Do we want to ask somebody else from our board to say, you know, I'll read the planning board minutes, don't even need to go to the meeting, you know, unless I got a question and I'll call them. And it would be a softer way, right? Or say, wow, we really need you to come to this meeting because we got this, you know, this bunch of zoning stuff we want to talk about. I'm just trying to think about a way to maybe
Well, I
ease
think
into it.
I think if there was an issue or a situation, they would come.
Mhm.
I'm just saying as far as the commitment. We have a town board member go to all the planning and zoning meetings.
Right,
And then they report back to our board.
So do we ask you to include that in your report? I'm just trying to think about a way to streamline
Not
it.
heavy, I'm gonna let you know, but I
I would
mean,
just say
most of
maybe,
it's,
look at, like you said, if we have something on the agenda that has to do with planning or zoning or a new business, reach out to them and say, reach out to the chairman and say, hey, would you like to attend our meeting because we're gonna discuss this new business and your input would be welcoming.
And maybe we do that with the school too. I think a school rep would be beneficial for certain things, but I don't know if they need to be fully involved.
So if we're
Right.
discussing it, invite the principal of this school and stuff.
Perhaps just an open invitation.
Yeah.
So maybe like an invitation per issue, ad hoc invitation is what you're recommending, Scott?
I would say now in the short term, because we don't have a lot of that going on,
Yeah,
you know, then that way it's not putting something else on their plate, and when they ask for volunteers for a town board member, they might not get stuck with a second meeting and say, I don't want.
And if they come and say, well, that was useless, I wasn't any
Yes.
help, with that, so it's a waste of my time.
Right.
So yeah,
I agree, Carol.
for this time is a good idea.
And our bylaws and our charters allow us to bring in subject matter experts, issue
Right.
dependent. So,
so so it sounds like everybody feels comfortable with this concept of it being ad hoc. We invite them when, do we want to send a formal letter that says, we realize that your input would be valuable. This is when our meetings are. You're more than welcome to attend. We may, at times ask you to specifically come when we feel there's a meeting, a member. I mean, something like that, just to sort of.
That's.
So I can take it to draft what I think that might look like, and I'll send it out to you. Well, I'll put it on Google Drive, and people can say, yeah, that's terrible, or it's great, let it rip.
Okay.
All right, so I'll take the to do that. All right, next, any other discussion on that? Okay, everybody's good. Discuss membership on the New York Economic Development Council. Scott had recommended this, just to remind us all, I put on the agenda how much it costs. Cause I knew that would be the big thing. Discussion on this.
Well, I know last meeting, I
I-
suggested look at it and see if there's anything that they wanted to attend, that they would attend.
Yeah, the thing is that the next event is May 22nd, and there was no agenda out there when I looked.
Right,
prior to
I
the
looked too.
It just hasn't been published yet. So do we just punt this for another month?
You know what I think we might want to do, guys, with that, I think it's going to be beneficial once we get our strategic plan. Because then we can look at our initiatives and say, okay, we need knowledge or we need education in this specific topic. And can New York State Economic Development Council help us? It's almost like we're trying to absorb all this knowledge, but not know if we're ever going to use it, but knowledge is dangerous. Once you have it, you can leverage it. But I'm thinking, let's get our strategic plan done first and then determine how we as board members become educated on those initiatives.
Okay,
Thoughts on that?
I think that we should just be a member. I know, like, for professional organizations and for professional organizations I belong to, I get a lot of training opportunities and credentialing. And it also just, I don't know, Scott has been asking for this for a while.
yeah, no, he has, and it's just one of those things that we just keep
I
punting, yeah.
feel like if it's, Scott is probably most, involved in all of this stuff, and if this is something he feels would be beneficial to the community, to us, I think it will be. Like, I belong to the National Social Work Association, and I get a ton of stuff for that, for work and for keeping my license and stuff like that. I don't know that we'll fully know what we're getting until we're either a member or not. And if we do it for a year and it's not beneficial, then we can look at not knowing it, but that's mine.
I just know, from the village standpoint, the town standpoint, Kate belongs to NICOM, New York State Conference on Mayors, the town belongs to Association of Towns. They pay their fee. You get so many opportunities, like you said, you get emails, there's webinars all the time that you can jump on and learn. They save them. If you're a member, you can watch them when you're free. At least I'm sure it's just like those same long organizations. There's networking opportunities. I mean, that's That's where you meet the people that you need to talk to. That's where you make your connections at the state level. I just think for $850 a year to try it and see, I mean.
Good.
I just think the state looks at those things when you're developing, relationships.
Calendar year, January, to
I
June.
think it's January to January, so if you waited till June anyway, I think it's still, I don't know if they prorated it or not.
So what other, so thank you, that's helpful. Others, what do other people think?
Is that the price, 150 a year or 150 a
Eight,
quarter?
it's 850, 850.
850. That doesn't seem like a lot of money to me, and I think the networking thing carries value that we can't anticipate. That will. I think it's a good thing to join.
Okay, I got two good things to join. Others?
If we are, we should do it now.
Yeah.
If we aren't,
Yeah.
we should wait a year. But I'm fine with it too. I mean,
I think Scott made a great point. We could try it this first year. If it doesn't work.
Yeah.
We cut our losses and move on.
All right, so, Carol, this looks like oops.
I think if we register with the group email, then it'll get forwarded, like Joe's, he set up that forward option, so then we can all get the.
Right, the
Email.
CD, LDC.
Right.
So Carol, you and I'll have to work on that. Well, wait a second. I need a motion. I need a,
Motion to-
Mandy motions. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, Jim's got it. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so, oh, did it? Cause I just looked like last week and it wasn't there, so that's
So you can see.
when I did the agenda. Okay. All right, well, it sounds like, we agreed to do it, so Carol, you and I will have to work, cause you'll have the debit card to pay it.
I could probably just do it, but I'll let you know if I need help.
Yeah, it'll be but to Mandy's point, if we do it from the CDLDC
Yes.
one, that'll work out great. Okay, great,
I
thank
agree.
you.
I mean,
Okay, I got one more addition. I know it's one quick one. So there was the form that Joe
The gar-
forwarded us
yeah, the guy
about the
wrote that.
rose garden, formal garden thing. Did you guys see that? Maybe not. Anyway, he forwarded it like last night. Anyway, this person, a constituent used our form that said, I think you guys should put in a rose garden, formal garden. It would be nice because of the French culture of the town. My suggestion is that I go back to her with an answer that says, not really our thing. However, the Improvement League is a perfect place for this. And then I'll copy the president of the Improvement League and make that marriage. Does anyone have any problem with me doing
That's
that?
exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
All right,
You'd like
done.
to
That's definitely-
facilitate.
I am just gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have blind dating happening and then we're done.
Wait,
All
can't
right.
we have Scott plant roses too?
I think can you see him? He's hitting his head on the table. All right, get
Or
out.
Jim, or
Can
Jim.
I
he
have
did a lot of-
it?
Has anybody talked about doing anything unusual, special for the eclipse?
The lighthouse.
Mhm.
The lighthouse gift shop will be open. We will have tours. We will have possibly coffee, tea, maybe some food. And hopefully the town has, because I went to the town board, if you remember, a few months ago. The town has ordered porta potties because it dawned on me that that would be a limited commodity. And so my understanding is Bill Pond has ordered those. And I did ask Bill also to get us some trash barrels from the village
As well.
and the villages, because we went to a village meeting as well.
So the only Cape Vincent event is gonna be there. Would that be correct?
We're at, yeah.
How far, but I see, Channel Marker is, advertising rooms for rent.
As am I, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have a little viewing party.
Yeah, I'm going to Angel Rock. I got my announcement from Angel Rock. I get a wine glass, so she knows. how to market.
So and the Thousand Island Sun did interview me yesterday about doing an article about what they're doing at the lighthouse, because the bottom line is, folks, when it gets dark, even if it's cloudy, the lighthouse will come on. And that's
Yeah.
wicked cool. So,
The chamber has no events planned.
Oh, wait, the lighthouse will come on?
yeah, because it'll be dark. It'll get that dark.
Oh, because the meetings that my staff went to were like, you need to cover up all your,
Lighting.
all your auto lights and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. So people experience this total darkness. So that's an interesting.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of events going on in the little, like Watertown.
Yeah.
Drum's having stuff, the school has changed their schedule for that.
Yeah, what are they
day.
gonna?
Yeah, what are they
Their,
doing?
the school day has shifted, so they'll go in later, stay later, because if they were going home, they'd be on the bus when the eclipse was happening.
Did it close?
No, but, and they're inviting families to come and view with their kids and they'll
Oh.
have classes and stuff like that.
And the
So
school's gonna provide glasses?
that's from my understanding, yes.
Yeah.
I don't, and, yeah.
Realize how many people are gonna try to go to the lake. I was in the village of Clyde, which is off of like DeLargo, right off the thruway, turn right, go by DeLargo Casino, it's 9 miles. And it's just a county road. And I was with the mayor and the police chief walked in and he had a folder like that, said, threw it to the mayor and said, here, this is from our emergency management meeting. They expected 250,000 cars to get off the thruway and drive to
Yeah.
Soda. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, it's crazy.
Watertown is putting out, they put out stuff to, like water and power issues they're expecting.
well, and they're also gonna bus people, so they've got external parking. So this is when I went to the village meeting, as I said, guys, people aren't gonna wanna be on the bus, they're gonna show up in Cape Vincent. We are gonna be busy.
It'll be interesting if we get many.
If there's really that many cars.
I think we will.
Yeah.
I do, I think we will.
We have.
No, I have openings.
So,
But I just opened them up like, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I just put this out there because I was waiting to see, if I got winter residents and now I know what I don't have people living in. So now I know. I felt like I did go open everything.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of April. We don't turn our water on to most of them.
yeah.
But I've got like, I don't know, 5 left.
But I
But I'm
love,
requiring
just so you
3
know,
nights and they have to stay Monday night
Yeah.
because they're saying you don't want people on the road on
Roads,
Monday night,
yeah.
because it's gonna be crazy and all.
and I love New York put something out about the 5 places and Tibbetts Point Lighthouse was one of them.
Cool.
So, I don't know, we'll see, we'll
Don't
see.
you think you should turn the lighthouse
Do you
off
want
though?
to, join me in putting up the fencing along?
Did you, I sent you a letter.
You did.
I did,
did?
yes, I got all of the people on Tibbetts Point Road and said, you might want to block your yards.
That's so
Encourage
frustrating.
people to park on the riverside so emergency vehicles can get up. Because if we have a lot of people at the lighthouse and something happens,
Yeah.
fire trucks and stuff have to.
You don't think you wanna make the lighthouse not come on?
Yeah,
No,
you
I
want
want
it
the lighthouse to come on. I think it's cool. I think it's
This
cool.
goes against everything we were told in our seminar.
I know, sorry. All right, everybody, thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Bill motioned. Who seconds? All in favor? Let's go home. Thanks, everybody.
Wait, who was second?
Dave.
Hey.
Dave. Okay, thank you.
Good meeting.